Hello, baby gangsters. This is the Undertale / Deltarune newsletter for summer 2024, and it looks like it's a little bit of a shorter one, which is fine. Sometimes you don't have a lot to say, especially I imagine like when you're like neck deep in like development. A lot of times it can seem kind of uneventful, but I think we love hearing about all this stuff, and Toby knows this, so it's always really nice to hear about what's going on. Regardless, there's a nice little drawing here as usual, pixel art here, which is really pretty as usual. Hi everyone, Deltarune Chapter 4 is making great overall progress. As the time of writing this, 7/23/24, so that's last month, the maps are done. Cool. All battles are playable. Awesome. Only 2 cutscenes need small improvements. Awesome. 1 battle needs to be balanced and the visuals need to be completed. Awesome. 1 battle needs a better background. Cool. 2 battles are having their ending sequence improved. There's still some things to fix in places and polish. Oh my god. 3 of my friends are about to play through the entirety of an unfinished Chapter 4. See, you know what? It's like, that's the thing. This is Chapter 4. You know, there's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to do. And that's why, like, the release of this game is going to be... It's going to be like, that day when it's announced, the release date, when the release date's announced, it's going to be huge. It's going to be mind-melting. There are many of my friends who are able to play unfinished Chapter 4, which is good. That means that it's playable. That means it's working to an extent. All of them like it and did not even major criticisms. Phew. Except for one friend who kept mentioning I should name all the chairs because the existence of Jeriel implies that they're all our chair stuff names as well. I'm probably not going to do that. Yeah, make the one chair special. I'm not sure if Chapter 2 is the longest chapter, but Chapter 3 and 4 together are definitely longer than Chapter 1 and 2 combined. There we go. Thinking about that is kind of crazy. Initial development of Chapter 5 is also progressing steadily. Most of the team is still focusing on Chapter 4, but people are going ahead and creating an initial draft of Chapter 5's maps, working on bullet patterns. That's awesome to hear as well. Look at these 2 boys. Look at these 2 boys. Sands of Papyrus and their swimwear wear for summer. Yeah, no, that just means that it's really like coming along nicely, and that's always nice to hear. Toby's very good at like, you know, expressing when things are not going great, or when things are messing up, but also in a nice way that doesn't worry people. But I genuinely feel like this is a good update for all of this stuff. It means that everything's progressing really well in Chapter 5. Once this is all polished and everything's kind of done for Chapter 4, once I hear in the newsletter they're working on Chapter 5 in more than just an initial stage, I'm going to start crying, you know? It's going to start crying. So what? Again, a bunch of fantastic characters for Deltarune. Deltarune to me is just so special. It's so special. Look, it's so freaking pretty. Look at Noelle. Look at Noelle. It's so cool. Chapter 4 is basically playable minus some polish. So it must seem like Chapter 3 and 4 are going to come out really soon, right? Actually, the release is still very far away. We've gotten 3 months closer, but it's still far. To me, that's the best way to put it. It's like, hey, every time we get a month of development done, we're a month closer to the release. Why? How does that horrible, despair-inducing, teeth-gnashing fact keep me up at night? Makes any sense at all? I want them out now. Well, I'll tell you. Oh, because there's another great drawing here as well. The illustrations are fantastic. They really are. They're so cute. What's left before release? That's right, creating the chapters is only the first step. To releasing the chapters is a whole other ordeal. It wouldn't be such a big deal. Are they roasting? Oh my god. They're like roasting marshmallows on his head. It wouldn't be such a big deal if the game was free, but since it's going to be our first big paid release since Undertale, we have to take extra to make sure it's perfect. That makes perfect sense. If you're going to actually like sell the game, you want to do so. Because the thing is, like, if you release a game that has a few bugs in it that's free, people are going to be very forgiving. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like you know, if it's glitch filled, there's going to be people that complain no matter what. Our goal is a simultaneous console and PC release in both English and Japanese. Awesome. What happened last time was they released it on PC and a week later they released it on Switch. It was weird, but you know, I'm glad they're doing simultaneous. So what do we have to do? Well, it's so long. Click below if you're curious. This is cool. I think all the illustrations here are absolutely fantastic. Susie looking amazing too. So this is the quest to release Chapter 3 and 4. Quest 1, Guinea Pig Syndrome. That's right, the first quest we have to clear is regardless of any that way that we want to release anything. We have to be the guinea pig for a brand new function of Game Maker. It's so cute. Yes, Yo-Yo Games, the creator of our engine, Game Maker, are adding a special new function to it just for us. This is a new command for Game Maker called Game Change. It allows you to separately launch different games you created in Game Maker, and even works on console. That means that we can create each chapter as an independent game project and swap between them using this function. Okay, cool. For Chapter 1 and 2's demo, we initially committed to the strange act of smashing both chapters together into one game project. It wasn't such an issue with only 2 chapters, but as the game progresses, doing something like that will become more troublesome. Here's the kind of trouble that could arise if we didn't have a game change. When the editing combined project, we wouldn't know if anything during the process might have inadvertently affected anything at any point in the game. So each time we patch any chapter, we would have to test all chapters all over again. Wow. Game Maker would tend to be slow to run the game with content on the scale of 3 chapters or more. On the player side, initial loading of the game would potentially take longer and longer as we added more chapters. Again, you don't want that. Anyway, the point is, with this command, we have a solution to all those issues. With one caveat. The new function is, well, brand new. It has never been tested broadly on many computers and on platforms before. Therefore, we would soon like to ask for your help testing it. It's estimated Game Maker will be updated with the new command within the next few weeks. At that time, we'll pull out a version of Chapter 1 and 2 that use it, along with some more detailed instructions of testing. For future updates on this topic, keep your eyes on... What? Wait. Oh my god, if I could test this, that would be so cool. Holy hell, that'd be so fun. For future updates on this topic, just keep your eyes on the official Undertale Twitter. Yeah, we will, for sure. In case you don't have a Twitter account, I'm happy for you. Make the console versions. I'd love to test it. I think it'd be awesome. Make the console versions. I'm blown away. Like, every time these illustrations happen, it just like makes me so freaking happy. Since our goal is a simultaneous console and PC release, we'll have to make a console version of Chapter 3 and 4. It's no problem to get the game running on console at this point, but making sure there's no difference in bugs between the console and PC version will take a bit of time. Each console manufacturer has their own special rules and standards, yes. So we'll also have to update the game to reflect those things appropriately. We will begin focusing on the PC version as it's reaching completion. This is so true. Devs have constantly talked about how it's different to make games for the PS5 versus Switch versus Xbox, and it's can sometimes be a nightmare, which is why you don't see games coming to Xbox right away all the time, or games coming to some consoles all the time, because like sometimes it can mean that like they have to like rework the game system. I think it happened with Baldur's Gate. I could be wrong, but I guess you could look it up yourself if you want to see if I'm wrong or right. We'll begin focusing on the as this PC version is reaching its completion. Legend of Localization. That is cute. As I mentioned, we are aiming for a simultaneous English and Japanese release. After all, it would be pretty strange if it was only the first 2 chapters said Japanese and then the 3rd and 4th one didn't. At this point, getting the Japanese script in the game is trivial, but the location and timing of Japanese text always needs many small adjustments to make it just as good as the English version. Plus, there's always some lines we forget to hand over translation. Chapter 3's localization is already amazing. Now I can read all the Japanese. I've been able to personally review every single line. Oftentimes the phrasing in the English is very vague, so I try to clarify everything I can for the translation team. I know localization isn't something that interests most people that much, but I'm really proud. You should be. Original creators are very rarely involved in translation process of their works this closely. Reading Japanese and English side by side could be a great way to study, although rules, I can never pronounce it, rules card might make you stupider. Here's the thing, like this is a really good thing. This shows care in your product. And it is a product now. I know it's sad to say. It's sad to say for some people, but I'm actually very happy they're going to be making a lot of money off this. They will be making a ton of money off this when Chapter 3 and 4 release. I think they're going to be making a boatload of money off this, which I'm very happy. It's a product. It's still a piece of art, but it is a product this time, and I think that's really, really cool. It shows a care for it, though. Yeah, the translations there are really, really neat. Anyway, the localization of Chapter 4 will need some completion before the chapter is released. By the time you read this, I hope that we will already start it. I think the characters will be easier to localize than Chapter 2 or 3, so hopefully it'll be smooth. Bug hunting. Get him! Get him, Susie! Releasing a game properly means trying to hunt down every major bug you can find. Fortunately, we have a dedicated company that will test our game, and a group of professionals will play the game cumulatively hundreds of times in both English and Japanese on every console. Of course, we can't do this until everything else is finished, after all. Any change to the project we could inadvertently cause issue. For example, making changes for consoles could make bugs. PC making changes for the Japanese could make bugs. and for the English too. So this will be one of the final steps. Yeah, the QA testing is so important for video games. That's why they're credited as actual devs, because without QA teams, you will end up with like a game that is like not ready to release. I played a game before that called Escape Dead Island, and apparently like it just like they had QA testers, but they just didn't listen to them, which to me is, you know, very silly. That's the whole point of hiring QA testers, not to just hear your game is fantastic, but to hear if there's some aspects that are wrong with your game. So I really love that they're doing this. There's so much care from Toby here. Quest 5 even more, and there's even more to think about too. Get the game reviewed by ratings boards, complete the soundtrack and get it ready for release, make the trailer and release materials, and more. Yeah, this is really great to hear. This is always really nice to hear. I know like it can sound boring for some people, as he's saying, but like I think all Undertale fans and Deltarune fans are really interested to hear this stuff. And then putting it together. So there are main steps to getting Chapter 3 and 4 ready for release. The order looks like this: testing a new function soon, complete untested Chapter 4 English PC version, console ports, Japanese version and other stuff, bug testing, and then the release of the actual game. We'll let you know the progress of each of these things going forward. That's it for this page. Really, I thought this was, I didn't think it was going to be this meaty. I'm actually really great. It's really great to hear all this stuff. Because again, what it shows to me is that like there is clearly stress behind the scenes. Of course there is, and that's why they hired a producer. They hired a producer for Deltarune Undertale so they could actually work more efficiently. And a lot of people, I think, you know, would hear the term producer for an indie game like this and go, "Oh no, it's going to become so different." But what the producer is there for, in this sense, is different from a producer that is just trying to make money off things. It's very clear that the producer for this game has been like, you know, grabbing this very creative group of people. And instead of them just running along and making stuff and like and doing all this fun stuff and like, which they're already doing, it's like, hey, creating like a not a fence, but it's more like a container where they can bottle all that stuff up and like where they can bottle efficiently. It's like, hey, okay, well, maybe we can't do this now. We'll do that later. It doesn't make sense to do this now. Do that later. You know what I mean? So they can like make sure that everything's working efficiently. It can actually reduce stress in a lot of ways to have someone take your mind off that stuff and make those decisions for you. It can reduce stress sometimes. Closing thoughts. The summer vibes. Thanks you so much for your patience. I'm monumentally thankful for everyone still waiting while we get the final hill over for the release of Chapter 3 and 4. We'll wait. With the progress on Chapter 5, I'm feeling confident that once Chapter 3 and 4 come out, the release schedule for the following chapters will be a lot smoother. It still is going to take a good while before we get there, but once we do, you'll never have to wait long for a chapter ever again. The wait is worth it. The writing, the music, everything. I know it's going to be worth it. By the way, one more unrelated thing. Dead Man's Chest. It's Hololive again. It's time for Camilla and I create a song for Legendary Pirate, the Hoshu Marine. It's got amazing music videos to check it out. So yeah. Marine's desire was to create a boss song about her. A serious, intense song. That doesn't pull any gags at all. A song reference for this they sent me. Megalovania. Anyway, I tried my best to make something cool. Marine's basic concept for the story was about her fighting with a ghost version of herself. Camilla and I actually ended up fleshing out the story concept while writing the song, so it ended up being used for the basis of the videos. Some of my creative highlights include there's a moment where two Marines' faces come close in the middle of the battle, Ghost Marine special attacks, and the plot twist. Alright, time to set sail. Cool, very cool. And yes, get spammed him, please. Roast him on an open fire. Roast him on an open fire for sure. Yeah, these newsletters are always really fantastic to hear, because what it just shows us is that there is a lot of care being put into this and we don't have to worry too much. I think like if you read these, and a lot of people don't, but if you read these, they basically just like put your mind at ease and like make you, and also like nobody's forgetting about these games. Like my audience still talks about Undertale and Deltarune all the time, and I appreciate that so much when they do talk about it. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you so much for actually writing these, Toby, because it actually like means a lot to me as a fan of these, and I love seeing this side of video game development as well. It's really awesome, and I've read every single one of them at this stage, I believe. I think I have. So, on to the Q&A portion of this video that we usually do. The first question comes from What's Your Damage? And it is, what are your favorite comfort foods and things that you eat when you're down? What did you like as a kid, but to have a taste for now? I love some chicken tenders. Chicken tenders are so good, but like always you have to get the right chicken tenders, right? But then again, it's hard to get like a bad chicken nugget. I feel like even like the really cheap ones I'm into. But like for me, like when I feel sick, I eat like sugar cereal. Like I just, for some reason, like maybe it's like there's a scientific basis for that, but like it makes you feel better almost instantly. In terms of comfort foods, I can never feel bad when I'm eating a hot dog. Like if I eat a hot dog, I feel good. I feel super good. The other foods that like in terms of savory foods that just make me feel really good when I'm eating them, like scrambled egg is really good. But if I had to say like the base of everything, it would be a hot dog, or like or like anything from like a chip van, like chips in a burger from a van. I love that stuff. Like, and it has to be like from a van, from like the side street vans. That always like works out so well for me. On the other side of that, I don't get it as much anymore, but like Indian food, really good stuff. Now it's not that I don't like Indian food anymore. Like it's just that like I've been trying to make my own, which isn't as good. But like I'm trying to make like this thing where I make my own food all the time. But there's a lot of great Indian places in the world that make such good food. It's very difficult because there's a lot of work that puts into it, and also like it's so different trying to make it yourself, because what happens is I feel like I don't have like the history of having a family of people that have like added to this dish and made it really good. But yeah, Indian food, if I can order it or if I can try and make it myself, always very good. I love either a butter chicken or a tikka masala. I'm very basic with that stuff. Yeah. Malcolm Conde asks, how many languages can you speak? 1. Can you try saying hello, baby gangsta? Like this is Calvin also throws rubber in them. I took French in school. I used to be able to like write Irish, but I can't do it anymore. I used to be able to like write like full letters in like my native Irish language. Can't do it anymore. Yeah, sorry. I can only speak English. Barely, as some of you guys might say. You can't even speak English. Well, you know what? You can't even speak politeness. That's just for like one person out there who ever said anything about my English. You know what I mean, lads? And the last question is from Azadrak. What did you want to be when you were younger, and what video game universe would you like to live in? I wanted to be a wrestling commentator for a while, and then I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to go to college, and that sounds terrifying, but like I wanted to do because that was like what I thought I wanted to do. And I did go to college, but like it was like, you know, really wrestling commentator was what I wanted to be when I was growing up. I wanted to be a wrestler when I was a kid, but then I realized like I didn't have the coordination, nor did I have like a cool look. So I was like, okay, I gotta be like something else. And then I was like, oh, I talk a lot. I could be a wrestling commentator, you know? It's kind of how like I got into doing YouTube. I was like playing Call of Duty in a youth center one time beside this person. Like we all went to this youth center like at night sometimes because it was like open and like you could do something in your city. And I remember like my friend just being like, you talk a lot. And I was like, oh, you should do that like thing that YouTubers do. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't have like a lot, like I didn't go on the internet very often. And then I looked up like Slenderman stuff and saw Markiplier, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'd love to do this. You know, this looks awesome. And what video game universe would you like to live in? Final Fantasy 12 post game, where everything is kind of like better and there's not like a big war about to happen, but it's a beautiful world to live in, and I'd love to live in the world. Or I'd love to go to the pub in Catherine. I would love to go to the pub in Catherine Full Body. It's such a great place. What a fantastic game. What a beautiful, beautiful, fantastic game. Oh, or any of the Persona games. Or Trails of Cold Steel. Probably. Shenmue. No, the World of Shenmue as well. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, much appreciated. Guys, thank you so much for watching this, and thank you so much for supporting me all the time. Tomorrow we're coming back into a new Let's Play, and I cannot wait to actually play that new Let's Play. Thank you to the Never Can Repay You Baby Gangsta tier on Patreon. Tyfire 2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, Ghost of Inazuma, Felicious Felix, George Candelaria, Escon, Yule, Radish, Anusta, Ciabatta Malcolm Conde, V, Mika, Death Trap, and Smarky. If you want to get your name called out, it's literally just it's a tier on Patreon. You can check it out there, or you can get your name in the credits that you're seeing right now. Or you can just like, you know, give whatever you want if you do want to give that. You don't have to give anything, but it's always very appreciated from any tier. The $1 tier gets you into the chats and beyond that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.